When was the first time the world broke you? Not the dramatic collapse, the quiet one. The moment you smiled while your chest was burning. The moment you said, "It's fine," even though something inside you whispered, "This is killing me." I've seen people crumble in slow motion. Good people. Soft-hearted people. People who believed that if they were gentle enough, patient enough, forgiving enough, the world would eventually treat them with the same tenderness. But the world doesn't work like that. Life rarely rewards purity. It rewards clarity. It rewards those who know the difference between being kind and being harmless. And I'll tell you the truth. I once refused to face. You are breaking not because you're good, but because you keep abandoning yourself in the name of goodness. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. Carl Jung confirmed it centuries later. The world bends for those who are anchored from within, not for those who trade their soul just to be understood. Today, I want to take you into the part of your psyche you've avoided your whole life, the place where your boundaries were born, where your shadow waits, and where your true strength has been whispering beneath all your apologies. Because, unless you become ruthlessly self-aware, the world will keep breaking you in the same places. Stay with me until the end of this video. If you do, you won't just understand yourself better, you will shift into the version of you that no longer breaks. The version that chooses, commands, and directs. Before we go deeper, remember to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you be the first to receive the next chapter of this awakening journey. There was a period in my life when I kept telling myself, I'm just being a good person. But deep down, I knew I wasn't being good. I was scared. Scared of disappointing people. Scared of losing them. Scared of being seen as selfish. I thought if I stayed gentle, if I stayed available, if I stayed forgiving long enough, someone would finally choose me the way I kept choosing them. Someone would finally treat me with the same depth I offered so easily. Someone would finally see the weight I carried in silence. But no one came. And the more I gave, the more invisible I became. Maybe you know this feeling too. That unsettling sense that you're always pouring more than you receive. That you're always the one who understands, who adjusts, who bends, who apologizes first, even when you weren't wrong. That you're carrying the emotional debt of every relationship you've ever had. Most people don't realize this, but the world has a quiet way of punishing those who are too available. Not because kindness is wrong, but because kindness without boundaries sends a message you never intended to send. I will tolerate anything as long as you don't leave. And people, especially the unconscious ones Jung warned us about, sense this. They don't see your heart, they see your fear. And fear is the sweetest scent to those who take more than they give. Maybe your story looks like this. You stayed in a relationship long after your soul started to shrink. You gave too many chances to someone who didn't deserve even one. You changed yourself to make someone else comfortable, and in the process, you disappeared. You explained your worth to people who already decided not to value you. You carried conversations that should have been 50-50, but ended up 90-10. You fought for people who wouldn't cross the room for you. And the strange thing is, you kept telling yourself you weren't suffering. You said, I'm fine. It's not a big deal. I don't want conflict. But your body knew. Your soul knew. Every quiet night, every forced smile, every moment of emotional exhaustion reminded you of a truth you were too afraid to name. I am losing myself trying to keep people who don't even want to stay. This is the tragedy of the good person archetype Jung talked about. You create a persona, a mask designed to keep you safe. A mask of patience, a mask of gentleness, a mask of selflessness. But beneath that mask lives a shadow version of you, angry, exhausted, unprotected, begging to be acknowledged. I know this because I lived it. And I watched countless others live it too. Strong people slowly collapsing under the pressure of being the easy one. People who heal others but have no idea how to heal themselves. People who forgive so quickly that others forget they were even hurt. People who say yes because the word no tastes like guilt in their mouth. But here's the truth you may not want to hear yet. The world doesn't break you with big blows. It breaks you in subtle ways, in overlooked moments, in micro disappointments that accumulate quietly until one day you wake up and wonder, why does my life feel so heavy? When did I stop feeling like myself? And here's the most painful part. You didn't lose yourself overnight. You lost yourself one compromise at a time. One swallowed truth at a time. One boundary you didn't set. One instinct you ignored. One red flag you explained away. One piece of yourself is handed to someone who never earned it. You didn't break because life is cruel. You broke because you believed you couldn't be loved unless you were small, quiet, agreeable, harmless. But here's the good news. Every breaking point is also a doorway. A moment when the universe whispers, this is not who you were meant to be. And if you're still here, listening, breathing through the ache in your chest, it means something inside you is waking up. Now, before we move on, I want you to pause and breathe. Then tell me in the comments, what part of this story felt like I was talking directly to you? I'll read every reply. There's a moment in every person's life when they quietly ask, why do I keep getting hurt the same way by different people? It feels like fate. It feels like a curse. But Carl Jung said something that cuts deeper than any heartbreak ever could. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life. And you will call it fate. This isn't fate. This is psychology. This is your inner world running your outer world without your permission. Let's go deeper. 1. Machiavelli. The world respects strength, not innocence. When Machiavelli wrote The Prince, he wasn't teaching cruelty. He was teaching survival in a world that rewards strategy. He observed something brutally simple. People do not value what is predictable. People do not respect what is overly available. People do not fear losing what they assume will always stay. That's why kindness without boundaries becomes a magnet for exploitation. To Machiavelli, power is not about domination. Power is about psychological clarity, knowing exactly who deserves your energy and who deserves your absence. He warned, men are ungrateful, fickle, false, cowardly, and covetous. He wasn't insulting humanity. He was exposing the unconscious nature of most people, creatures driven by instinct, fear, desire, and projection. When you are soft in a world of unconscious minds, you are not adored, you are devoured. 2. Jung. The shadow you refuse to face controls you. Jung believed every human being carries a shadow, the repressed, hidden, instinctive parts of ourselves that we deny to appear good. Shadow. But here's the paradox. The more good you try to be externally, the more your shadow takes over internally. Your people-pleasing? Shadow. Your fear of saying no? Shadow. Your desire to be liked by everyone? Shadow. Your inability to set boundaries? Shadow. You think you're being kind, but your shadow knows the truth. You're terrified of being abandoned. And unconsciously, the people around you sense this fear. They won't say it, they won't admit it, but they feel it, and humans instinctively push where the walls are weakest. This is why some people keep hurting you. You've never shown them the version of you that can walk away. You've never shown them your shadow, so they assume you don't have one. But here's the thing, you do. You always have. You've just never integrated it. And what is unintegrated becomes uncontrolled. What is uncontrolled becomes manipulated. Jung's words are a warning. The person who does not confront their shadow becomes it. Not consciously, but through repeated patterns of self-abandonment. 3. Nietzsche. You must become something stronger than your suffering. Nietzsche believed humans are meant to rise, to break old identities, to evolve beyond the roles society forces upon them. He said, you must have chaos within you to give birth to a dancing star. What is that chaos? Your unmet needs, your buried anger, your lost self-worth, your forgotten instincts, your suppressed truth. Nietzsche didn't tell you to avoid suffering. He told you to use it, to transform it, to become someone who does not break from pain, but rises from it. Most people drown in their wounds because they try to heal without changing. But true transformation requires destruction, the death of the persona you created to be liked. In other words, the version of you that keeps breaking, it must die. Not physically, but psychologically, emotionally, spiritually. 4. Freud. Your patterns are not accidental. Freud believed every repeated pattern is a clue. A message from the unconscious trying to awaken you. If you keep attracting people who disrespect you, take you for granted, disappear when you need them, manipulate your empathy, treat you like an emotional resource, it's not bad luck. It's unhealed programming. Your mind repeats what it hasn't resolved. Every toxic relationship is a mirror. Every betrayal is feedback. Every disappointment is a map pointing toward the wound in you that still needs awareness. Freud said, unexpressed emotions never die. They are buried alive and will come forth later in uglier ways. Your silence has a cost. Your suppressed truth has a price. Your swallowed pain eventually becomes your identity. 5. The truth behind why the world breaks you. It's not because you're weak. It's because you've been unconscious. You move with your heart, but forget to bring your awareness. You give with sincerity, but forget to guard your energy. You forgive quickly, but forget to observe patterns. You love deeply, but forget to love yourself in equal measure. The world doesn't break conscious people. It breaks the ones who sleepwalk through their emotional life. To be ruthless, in the true sense, is not to be cruel, it is to be awake. Awake to your shadow. Awake to your worth. Awaken to the dynamics of power that shape every human interaction. And once you awaken, you stop playing the role you were never meant to play. You stop being the victim. You start being the observer, and soon, the controller of your own destiny. Before we move to the next part, tell me in the comments, which idea hit you the hardest, Machiavelli, Jung, Nietzsche, or Freud? I will read your thoughts and reflect with you. Awakening doesn't begin with philosophy. It begins with recognizing the 1,000 small ways the world has already been breaking you. Not with violence, not with cruelty, but with subtle patterns you kept calling normal. Let me show you exactly where it happens. 1. In your relationships, the emotional ATM pattern. Maybe you've been in a relationship where you gave more love than you received. Not because you were naive, but because you believed love meant carrying the weight for two. You listened, you supported, you showed up. And they took it all, as if it were their birthright. They came to you only when they were drowning. Only when they needed validation. Only when their loneliness demanded a warm place to land, and when you needed them. Suddenly, they were exhausted, busy, not in the right mental space. This isn't love. This is an extraction. And every time you stayed, the world learned it could break you with silence. 2. At work. The competence punishment loop in America. Workplaces are engineered around the illusion of fairness. But underneath the corporate smiling masks lies a brutal truth. The more capable you are, the more you will be used. If you're the person who says yes, who volunteers, who fixes what others break, who keeps the team stable, you become a target for exploitation disguised as appreciation. Your reward for good work? More work. Your reward for reliability? Less respect. Your boss learns you don't push back. Your coworkers learn you'll cover for them. And you learn the painful lesson Machiavelli already knew. People do not value what costs them nothing. 3. In friendships, the emotional janitor syndrome. We all know that one friend who treats you like a confessional booth. They unload their chaos into your lap, cry on your shoulder, ask for your advice, promise they'll change, and then disappear the moment they feel better. You carry the emotional cleanup. You become the therapist, the healer, the fixer. But ask yourself this: when you break, where are they? Who holds your weight? Who wipes your tears? Silence answers the question for you. This is not friendship. This is a dependency with a flattering mask. 4. In family. The guilt manipulation trap. Family guilt is the most powerful psychological force in Western culture. You should call more. You never visit. You owe us. You're ungrateful. But here is the truth. Jung whispered beneath his writings, guilt is the tool of those who fear losing control. Some families don't love you. They fear the version of you they can no longer manipulate. The world breaks you most effectively through the people who raised you. 5. With yourself. The silent agreements you never questioned, but the deepest breaking doesn't come from others. It comes from you. From the invisible contracts you signed without awareness. I must be easy to love. I must not upset anyone. I must not be too much. I must earn my place in every room. These are the chains you forged, and these are the chains you must shatter. Because ruthlessness, as Machiavelli meant it, is not violence. It is the refusal to betray yourself ever again. Tell me in the comments, which example felt like it described your life? I will read your stories and respond. There comes a moment in every life where you must decide, do I keep breaking the same way? Or do I become someone the world can no longer break? Not by becoming cruel, not by becoming cold, but by becoming ruthlessly self-aware. A person knows exactly where their power begins and where the world ends. This is the transformation Machiavelli hinted at, Jung explained, and Nietzsche demanded. It's not a change in attitude. It's a change in identity. Let me guide you through the 6 awakenings that will turn you from someone who bends into someone who becomes unshakably whole. 1. Kill the persona. Stop pretending to be the good one, Jung warned us. The persona, the mask you wear to be loved, is the first prison you must destroy. Your mask smiles. Your mask says yes. Your mask forgives too fast. Your mask makes you agreeable, so you won't be abandoned. But your soul? Your soul is suffocating under the weight of all those unspoken truths. To awaken, you must kill the version of you that was built for others. The version taught to be polite instead of honest, pleasing instead of present, available instead of aligned. Ruthlessness begins with this vow: I will no longer betray myself to be loved. 2. Reclaim the shadow. Integrate the fire inside you. The shadow is the part of you you've spent your whole life denying: your anger, your intuition, your boundaries, your sense of worth. Everyone taught you to hide it. Jung taught you to reclaim it. Because here's the secret most people never learn. The shadow you repress becomes the weakness others exploit. The shadow you integrate becomes the strength others respect. Your anger isn't your enemy. Your anger is your compass. It reveals every place you abandoned yourself. Your shadow eyes into darkness. It is your power source waiting for permission to return home. When you integrate it, people stop playing with your emotions. They feel something different in you: a steadiness, a silence, a sovereignty that cannot be manipulated. 3. Boundaries as identity. Not just protection. Boundaries are not lines you draw. They're truths you embody. They are the architecture of your self-respect. Listen carefully. A boundary is not something you say. It's something you enforce. When someone crosses it, you don't explain. You don't negotiate. You don't plead. You withdraw. You close the gate. You choose you. Machiavelli said a prince must govern himself before he governs a kingdom. Your boundaries are self-governance. They announce, my peace is not public property. 4. Master silence. The most terrifying power in human psychology. Silence is not emptiness. It is pressure. It is control. It is the moment others reveal themselves because they cannot read you. Most people speak from fear. The ruthless speak from intention. When you learn to hold your tongue, to pause instead of react, to breathe instead of explain, you step into a psychological position few ever reach. People fear what they cannot predict, and silence makes you unpredictable. Nietzsche called this the dignity of self-mastery, a quiet center untouched by noise. This is why silence is not withdrawal. It is elevation. 5. Emotional sovereignty. Become the observer, not the puppet. The world breaks those who react. It cannot break those who observe. Emotional sovereignty means this: no one gets to pull the strings of your nervous system. No guilt tripping, no emotional bait, no manipulation disguised as love. When you stop reacting, everything changes. They lose the power. You gain it. They reveal their motives. You reveal nothing. This is the kind of ruthlessness that isn't cruel. It is simply awake. Utterly, fiercely awake. 6. Become the one who walks away. The ultimate power move. Let me say something. The old version of you will resist hearing. Walking away is not a loss. Walking away is a declaration. When you walk, you prove two things. Your soul is not for sale. Your peace is worth more than anyone's presence. Detachment is not cold-hearted. Detachment is conscious self-respect. It is the moment you stop forcing what is not aligned. The moment you understand loyalty is meaningful only when it is mutual. The moment you realize you do not need closure because clarity lives inside you now. Machiavelli said, "He who is master of himself cannot be mastered by others." That is the destination. That is ruthlessness in its purest form. When you combine these 6 awakenings, something extraordinary happens. You stop being shaped by pain. You start shaping yourself through it. You stop trying to be lovable. You start becoming untouchable. You stop asking, "Why do they hurt me?" and instead ask, "Why did I stay where my soul was shrinking?" This is not the end of who you are. This is the end of who you are not. Now tell me in the comments, which shift are you ready to make first? I'm here. I'm reading. I'm walking this path with you. There's a truth you may have sensed throughout this entire journey. A truth that's been quietly waiting behind every memory, every heartbreak, every betrayal you survived. The world never had the power to break you. It only had the power to expose the parts of you that were still asleep. All along, life has not been trying to destroy you. It's been trying to awaken you. Every person who underestimated you was revealing where you had forgotten your worth. Every silence you tolerated was showing where your voice needed to return. Every pattern you repeated was pointing toward a wound that needed awareness. Every time you felt small, life was asking you to outgrow the identity that no longer fit. And now, here you are. Not the person who bends. Not the person who begs. Not the person who tries to earn love through self-abandonment. But the person who finally sees with clarity. Machiavelli taught you strategy. Jung taught you depth. Nietzsche taught you transcendence. But life taught you what none of them could. The moment you reclaim your inner authority, everything changes. Because ruthlessness, in its purest form, has never been about cruelty. It has always been about returning to yourself. It is the moment you refuse to negotiate your worth. It is the moment you protect your energy with sacred discipline. It is the moment you stop justifying your choices to people who don't even deserve access to you. It is the moment you rise from your own ruins without needing applause or permission. You become untouchable not by building walls, but by building awareness. Not by shutting down your heart, but by anchoring it so deeply within yourself that no one can shake it loose again. And one day soon, sooner than you think, you will look back at the version of you who tolerated too much, who apologized too quickly, who loved without receiving, who trusted without observing. And you will feel something you haven't felt in years: compassion for who you were, and pride for who you finally chose to become. Because rising isn't loud. Rising isn't dramatic. Rising is quiet, steady, unshakable. It happens the moment you say, "I am done breaking in the same places." The world will notice the shift. Some will call you distant. Some will call you selfish. Some will call you cold. But the conscious ones, the ones who see, will recognize the truth. You are no longer available for the version of life that once drained you. And that is your liberation. So carry this with you. You are not here to be understood. You are here to be unmistakably yourself. You are not here to be agreeable. You are here to be aligned. You are not here to be broken. You are here to rise. This is your turning point. Not someday. Not eventually. Now. If this message awakens something inside you, even a spark, even a whisper, make sure you like this video to push it further into the world. Subscribe so you never miss the next chapter of your own awakening. And turn on the notifications so you be the first to receive the guidance you've been searching for. And before you leave, share with me in the comments, what was the most powerful truth you realized today? Your words might be the mirror someone else desperately needs.